Hi there, this is Chris, and this is the last video of the math section from the June 2023 ACT. So here we're doing questions 41 through 60, and if you haven't seen the first couple videos, so I'm not really going through and explaining each question. This is in response to a couple student requests who asked, we want to see how you do it. How would you actually approach this if you were taking the test yourself? So they wanted to just get some insight into where I would maybe write things out, or where I would try to do things in my head, or what strategies I would use. So we're gonna dive in, and these are gonna be questions that I haven't looked at, so it's a raw look. So it may take me a minute to process a question. I might even make a mistake and miss a couple. Hopefully that's an important lesson as well, that even a self-proclaimed test prep expert can, sometimes make mistakes. But we're going to just kind of dive in, and I'm going to try to motor through these last 20 questions here and give you a little bit of insight into how I would naturally see these. So here we go. 41. 4 plus 3i squared, which would be 16 plus 24i plus 9i squared, and I squared is -1, so 16 minus 9 would be 7. For 42, f of -1 would be 1 plus 5 plus 6, which is 12, so g of 12 would be 144 minus 84, 60 minus 10 is 50. Okay, so they just want us to simplify this here. X cubed cancels out with 3 of those, and that x cancels out with the last one, so no more x's. And then that'll be y to the 4th over y. So that'll be y to the 3rd. And then 9 over 6 reduces to 3 over 2. All right, for 44, so here I'd probably work backwards. Ratio of altos to sopranos. So if there are 19 more altos, then that means that first number has to be bigger. And then it's got to add up to 73, and the difference has to be 19. That's H. So here, let's figure out how much actual potassium bromide we have. So we have 40 times 0.06. So that would be 2.4. And then that's 2.4 liters out of a total of 40 and 80, which is 120 liters. So that would be 2%. I think I did that math quickly, but yeah, it is 2%. Okay. Here I draw a triangle, so opposite over hypotenuse. This is a SOHCAHTOA question. So here, this would be root 5. So cosine would be root 5 over 3. Okay, so 7 by 5. Oops, we're gonna have to do this a little more accurately. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That's one corner. And then 1, 2, 3, and -1, 2, 3. That's another corner. So this is the side of 5. So then here, it could go either way, but since they said 0, 0 is in the interior, it has to go this way, 7 units. So if that's +3, the other one would be -4. Two non-vertical parallel lines. Oof, that was a messy drawing. Bear with. So they have to have the same slopes. So 3 is true, which means we can eliminate anything that doesn't have a 3. And then now we just have to decide on 1 or 2. Let's see. So if they're not coincident, they're not the same, B1 and B2 can't be the same, so 2 has to be true. It's K. Has an intercept at -3, 0. Okay, so we can eliminate B and E. It increases for all x greater than 3. Okay, it looks like it'll be C. Just double check. Not defined for x equals -2. Yep, okay. All right, the solution of which of the following equations gives the length of Q. So this is probably going to be law of cosines, and it would be Q squared equals 8 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 8 times 10 times 120. Yep. All right, let's see if it can be determined. So let's try 3 and 4 for M and N. So then this would be 1, 3 over 4, 3 over 5, and then 2 over 4. So in that case, we would say this. Now let's switch it around, see if that does anything. Because they don't say which one's greater, right? It just says distinct. Yep, okay, it just says distinct, which means different. All right, so now let's see if we get that first fraction again, which I don't think we will. Let's check though. So here, if M is 4 and N is 3, this one would be 1. This one would be 1. This one would be 4/3. And this one would be 4 over 2. Just 2. Oh, that one is still the greatest. Okay. So I think that's our answer. And on test day, this is probably one, just so people know, that I would mark and come back to play with a little bit more if I had time at the end. But since they're both positive integers, I don't have to worry about negatives. So here, the only thing I have to really play with is which one is greater. And I did both those scenarios. So I think I've checked all boxes on that. But I would come back and mess with that one a little bit more with extra time at the end of the section. All right, for 52. Decreased by 20, and then decreased by 20 again, and then decreased by 50. So that's, let's see, 64 times 5 would be 320. Which is 32%, so it was reduced by 68%. Okay. So here, this is like a weighted average type question. Multiply these out. That's 0, that's 4, that's 2, that's 3. So 6 and 3 is 9. Over 20 is like 0.45. So it's less than 1 a day. So this we'd have to do a little completing the square, but it should be x plus something. Quantity squared plus y squared equals r squared. So that means it'd have to be j. We don't have to actually factor it. To get it, we just have to know it's a plus on the x to shift it left. All right, visited for 1.5 hours, so we can take that out. So here he walked and biked, and the total time was 1.5 hours, not including the visit. So here he walked at 3 miles an hour times some amount of time, and then on the way home he went at 8 miles an hour times 1.5 minus whatever that was, and these distances would have to be equal because they said same route. Okay, so I think we're just setting these equal. 8 times 1.5 is going to be 12 minus 8t. So this 11t equals 12, t equals 12 over 11. And then if you plug that into either one to figure out how far he walked, so 3 times 12 over 11 would be 36 over 11, so it should be 3 and change, I think. Alright, let's check. Negative 4, 11, and positive 8, 5. Okay, so this is line. B lies on that line. The ratio of AB to BC is 1 to 2, so it's about a third of the way along the line. So for the x's, that's 12, so a third of that would be 4 units, so it should be right actually on the axis. 0, 9 makes sense. Let's make sure the 9 is good. From 11 to 5 is 6, a third of that's 2. Yep, okay. A to B to C. A to B is 3 to 1. B to C is 6 to 1. So that means A to C would be 18 to 1 for that. So the easiest thing to do here is plug in a 1 for C, and 6 for B, and 18 for A if we need it. So that'd be 36 plus 18 over 4 times 6, 24 plus 3. So 54 over 27 is going to be 2. All right. Negative slope. So if we isolate y, if all the numbers are positive, then here we'd have y equals negative a over b x, and blah blah blah. We don't care about the intercept. So that'd be a negative slope. So if we say yes to 1, we can eliminate those other 2. Here for Roman numeral 2, we get y equals, it's going to be negative a over negative b, which will just be a over b. That'd be a positive slope, blah blah blah. We don't care about the intercept, but we can't have a 2 in there. Let's get that out, and then for this one we have y equals a over negative b, which would be negative slope, so it should be 1 and 3. So inverse functions, you're just switching your x and your y, so this would be x equals 5 to the y over 2. And it looks like they want us to mess with logs here, so take log of both sides. Log x equals log of 5 to the y over 2, which would be y over 2 times log 5. And then divide by log 5. Log x over log 5 equals y over 2 times 2 log x over log 5. Ugh. Then they want us to do change of base formula for that. Okay. So here, that's going to be log base 5 of x times 2. Okay, 2 times log base 5 of x. That's a tricky one for number 59. All right, 60. Rectangle has an area of 24. Rectangle Q has a perimeter of 24. ratio of the area of rectangle P to the area of rectangle Q is 2 to 3. Okay, so then here the area of Q is 36. Alright, which can be determined from just the information given. So perimeter of P, we don't know. For rectangle P over here, we don't know anything about that one because it could be, 2 and 12 or 3 and 8, for example. So say no to Roman numeral 1. The area of Q, yes, we do know that. And since they don't have 2 and 3 as an option, it has to be G. All right, and that's it for that math section. So again, I'll have to look back through and check, see if there's a more efficient way. I'd love some comments and feedback as to how anyone else might approach these problems. If you have easier or faster ways, that's great. If you have questions on any of these and you want a more thorough explanation or step-by-step approach, I'm also happy to provide that. But for now, this is just a quick intro of what a first glance of a math section looks like to me and how I might approach these. And like I said, I might look back through tomorrow and say, you know what, I could have done a lot of those a little bit more effectively. But this is a good look at a first crack at it for you guys to hopefully gain some insight into how I process these questions. So hopefully that was helpful. And if anything, I know for some of my students who wanted to see me do these questions, on a fresh look, hopefully they'll, have some fun and be able to, maybe benefit a little as well. Thank you guys so much for watching.